Good evening and welcome to Today on One. I'm Maggie Forciedo. In the news tonight, NBC employees call for immediate removal of current management. Abusive parents may face 10 years in jail, says Hesselman. Pay for what you consume, says City of Windhoek. And Roundup, Comments Corner, Business on One, Sports and the weather. Now for the news in detail. In their third week since downing tools, striking employees of the national broadcaster, together with a union, marched to the Parliament building to hand over a petition to the Prime Minister, calling out its management for poor corporate governance. The group further questioned the reluctance of the Ministries of Finance and that of state-owned enterprises to hold the broadcaster's management accountable. Amongst issues raised and questioned was the criteria on which performance bonuses were paid to a few selected management, employees receiving threats of no work, no pay, with third-party payments such as employees' housing, medical aid and pension not paid for the month of April. Selma Tapopi has more.
The striking workers in a petition handed over to the Prime Minister, Sarah Kugongelwa Amadila, demanded for the immediate removal of the broadcaster's current management, for the Namibian government as a shareholder to review its current subsidy to the NBC, further requesting that the National Assembly rejects the 2021-2022 budget allocation to the NBC, and urging the Ministries of ICT, Finance and SOEs to closely monitor the financial administration of the broadcaster, and asking that all contract employees be employed permanently and end the contract labor system.
In line with our strong convictions, we want to make it clear to the Namibian nation, in particular our loyal listeners and viewers, that voting in favor of the strike was our last resort. We were left with no choice but to embark on this fight to voice our plight and ensure that we come back delivering an even greater product to the nation. NBC in 2017-2018 received $259 million from the government. In 2018-2019, $266 million was allocated, and in 2019-2020, $334 million. This year, an amount of $127 million was given to the public broadcaster. It is of a huge concern to us as employees to see the downward spiral of the government subsidy to the NBC. Broadcasting is not a cheap business, and the impact has had a major impact on the operations of the already struggling corporation.
Also at the strike was a 76-year-old senior citizen sympathizing with the workers and pleaded with the Prime Minister to pay the workers their rightful demands, as without them, senior citizens around the country are deprived of information and entertainment, as they only depend on radio, which broadcasts in all languages.
I'm here for the grassroots levels, for all the nations, all the old people of Namibia, who were never in contact with the white men, who cannot speak English, Afrikaans or German. We are suffering. Youngsters have places to go, like soccer fields, nightclubs, dancings, and so on, but we old people, we only have the radio. We only don't watch TV. We only even don't have cell phones. We don't understand the cell phones. That's why I'm here for the grassroots level, for all the nations, for all the old people of Namibia. We are suffering because the radio is speaking all the languages. It is broadcasting in all the languages. So it is the only medium we have here in Namibia. We have as a mother, we are sucking like a baby sucking on his mother's breast at the radio or on the radio. That's why we are suffering, we are suffering. We are suffering. Please, President of Namibia, Dr. Hage Geingob, please, Prime Minister, Sarah Kugongelwa Amadila, please, see to this problem. Please, pay the people of NBC so that we can have our medium.
Receiving the petition, Prime Minister Sarah Kugongelwa Amadila assured the employees that their demands have been noted and will be shared with the responsible leadership.
As is usual, the issues you have raised will be considered and you'll be provided with feedback. I want to indicate that as I conveyed to you through an official from my office and also through the leadership of the NUNW and the other member unions of NUNW who have been here with you since this morning, that I had a prior arranged engagement that I could not get away from. A meeting with stakeholders from outside of government, people who are in different parts of the country. We were meeting virtually, but this is a meeting that was rearranged because it was supposed to take place earlier and it was rescheduled, and I couldn't reschedule that meeting. I'm grateful that you were patient enough to wait until I'm able to receive your petition, which I have done now, and as I have indicated, will convey this to the rest of the leadership.
The striking workers have given the office of the Prime Minister until Monday to respond to their demands, noting that failure to do so, the employees will take the matter to the State House.
The children's advocate at the Office of the Ombudsman has said that under the Child Care and Protection Act 3, abusive parents may face a 10-year prison sentence or pay a fine of 50,000 Namibia dollars or both. Her statement comes as a response to increasing reports of child abuse in the country. This report from Joseph Ilonga.
Over the past few months, back-to-back reporting of child abuse cases in the media have become worrisome. Today on One spoke to Ingrid Husselman, the children's advocate at the Office of the Ombudsman, who said that in addition to the 10 years jail sentence and a 50,000 Namibia dollar fine, which the law can enforce on abusive parents under the Child Care and Protection Act, abusive parents may also be stripped of their parental rights.
The Child Care and Protection Act, like I said, it makes abusing a child is a criminal offence, and it is punishable upon conviction to a fine of 50,000 Namibian dollars or 10 years imprisonment or both. But in addition to it being a criminal offence, parents or guardians or caregivers can also be deprived of their rights in relation to these children. So a child who is the victim of abuse is a child who is in need of protective services. So what's supposed to happen is the incident or the incidents are supposed to be reported to a social worker or to a police officer. So then criminal proceedings will ensue, but also child protection proceedings will then start. And then ultimately, the law also makes provision for parents to be permanently deprived of their rights to children if they consistently and persistently abusing a child. Then the minister can make an application actually to the High Court or to the Children's Court to have this person just stripped of their parental rights, and then the child can be adopted or placed even without the consent of that parent, and then placed in a place of safety.
Although the government has implemented policies and legislations to combat and punish perpetrators of child abuse, many children continue to be subjected to harmful cultural practices which expose them to various forms of violence under customary law. Husselman also expressed her concern about some cultural practices in Namibia that promote corporal punishment as a form of disciplining children, which she says has become widely accepted in the country.
One of the things, cultural practices in Namibia, is parents practicing corporal punishment as a form of discipline on their children, and it's so widely accepted. But the Act doesn't prohibit it, but the yardstick must always be don't cause harm to a child. And so what happens oftentimes is that it's like a regenerational cycle of abuse, because I know the one article about the grandmother that was in the media about the grandmother basically beating the grandchild is probably just one of those things. This is how she was chastised as a child, by being severely beaten, and how other children in that community are being chastised, and so they don't recognize the behavior as abuse, but it is abuse.
Although the Office of the Ombudsman does not specifically provide direct services to victims of child abuse, Husselman mentioned that victims, parents, relatives, or the public can file a complaint of child abuse with a children's advocate who is situated at the Office of the Ombudsman in Windhoek, and such cases will then be referred to the relevant organizations mandated to assist and deal with cases of child abuse.
Residents in the city have been complaining of high water bills, whilst the city of Windhoek is saying that some residents fail to pay their water bills, thus causing it to accumulate interest. Hendrina Kanyolo has more.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
A city resident who owes the municipality over 50,000 Namibian dollars says she is overwhelmed and does not know how to pay off the debt, as she has been given over to debt collectors. She further pleads with City of Windhoek to allow her to pay at least 1,000 Namibian dollars, although her consumption per month is more than 3,000 Namibian dollars.
I went to see the manager there, or the head manager of debt management, Mrs. Libereki, and I explained my situation to her, and she refused listening to any of my distress issue that I was putting down on the table. So she referred me to go to Red Force. So I went to Red Force, and then unfortunately the lady that I had spoken to, the team leader, also refused to assist me. And although I had communicated earlier via the phone, they had refuted. So I went in person and also tabled her my distress, and they refused to listen to me. So I'm having a bill that is currently at 53,000. That is now including leakage that I found that I wasn't even told, which I recently had to have my tax fixed, which cost me another arm and a leg. Because obviously when we have leakages in the house, that also spikes up the bill. I went to speak to the manager at Red Force. I tabled him my situation as well, and he said, well, we are very sorry, but there is no way that they can breach the contract with City of Windhoek, and I either had to come up with either the 45,000, or I had to table the 25,000, and then they could then start the arrangement from there.
The city's corporate communications officer, Harold Akwenye, said the policies of the city are clear, stating that people should pay for the services the city provides.
It's a common denominator to say that if you are supplied with a service, or in our case, if we supply you with water and electricity, you pay for the usage. That's a business principle. So you consume and you pay for whatever you consumed, the amount of money of the item that you've consumed. So in our city, we do have a lot of defaulters. People consuming the services that is supplied to them in the form of water and electricity, but at the end, they don't pay for what they've consumed. Our credit policy is clear. If you don't pay for what you've consumed, we're definitely going to disconnect you. It has been a norm where our residents don't pay for what they consume. They run to the papers, they run to our heads in order to put us in a bad light.
Responding to the woman's request, Akwenye said the matter is out of their hands and are being dealt with by debt collectors.
The one in question, where we found out that this person has apartments in a backyard flat, in a yard. There's backyard flats. But this person collect those monies and still don't pay the city for the consumption of her household and those renting in her backyard flats. So we can't tolerate such. It used to happen previously where they come and get away with it. The new council just decided, no, you pay for what you consume. So whatever used to happen in the past, the loopholes that was there, all has been shut. There's no loopholes anymore. You consume, you pay. And if we realize that you are 90 days and above, we hand you over to a debt collector, which is Red Force in this case, and Red Force will deal with you. So we won't be able to assist you if we hand you over to Red Force.
Akwenye further urged residents who are in the same situation to go to the municipality to negotiate and come to a mutual agreement before they are handed over to debt collectors.
Community Voices proudly brought to you by Namdeb Diamond Corporation. Good today, better tomorrow.
We are molded with the utmost intricacy, unique and ever-evolving. But we will always need a guiding hand.
What's up, guys? What's up? Gonna go on the yellow one, okay? Okay, I'm done with the yellow.
If you think or feel that you can bring it, then come right up.
Yeah, he has a bit of a color. Any. Okay,
Your mouth is so blue.
my blue. And how was it for you? It's good. You gonna go again next year? Look at you. You look like a.
In other leading stories, Casada Capital Management is to acquire 414 key Safari Hotels and Conference, the largest hospitality complex in Windhoek, Namibia, which will create 150 local jobs. This transaction will be made through Casada Hospitality Fund LP Casada and remains subject to approval by the Namibian Competition Commission. The hotel complex is strategically located within 10 minutes of Windhoek city centre, adjacent to the Eros Airport. It consists of the 215-key Safari Court Hotel, the 199-key Safari Hotel, and Namibia's foremost meetings, incentives, conferencing, exhibitions venue, the Safari Court Conference Center, that includes a 1,600 square meter grand ballroom that can hold up to 2,400 delegates. GOtv will rebrand the hotels utilizing the management skills, expertise and marketing resources available from its strategic partnership with ACAR and its portfolio of renowned international hotel brands. By investing over 100 million Namibia dollars in this refurbishment, GOtv will further improve the existing conference facilities, which are a hub for local, regional and international events in Namibia, creating a go-to destination for both business and leisure guests. This second acquisition from GOtv further reinforces its position as a leading hospitality platform in sub-Saharan Africa, with a focus on delivering solutions to its local partners across cycles and varying degrees of complexity. Commenting on the transaction, Oliver Granite, managing partner and CEO of GOtv, says that this transaction is aligned with GOtv's strategy of bringing their capital and expertise to the management of existing properties in key locations in sub-Saharan Africa. David Damiba, managing partner and CIO of GOtv, says the transaction underscores their continued belief in the resilience and long-term prospects of the sector in Namibia and is aligned with the government's FDI initiatives.
My name is Ephraim. I say no to gender-based violence. Do you?
Joseph Shifeni is standing by for today's Business on One and Economic Indicators.
I'm Joseph Shifeni. Welcome to Business on One. The governor of the central bank has raised concern with the accessibility factor to the banking sector when it comes to rural communities, stressing that albeit being stable and modern, the system continues to neglect those that form part of the informal economy. The governor of the Bank of Namibia, Johannes Kavagap, was speaking at the handing over of the Bankers Association of Namibia leadership this week. In his address as the banking sector regulator, he said inclusivity remains a challenge for informal communities.
My own view of the banking system in Namibia is we've got a very modern, we've got a very stable financial system, but this system is serving the urban areas and the formal economy very well. The system is not serving the rural communities and the informal economy as well. So what we need to do is to make sure that particularly in the payments and settlements area, we have a system that is open, that's fast, that's cheap, that's secure and that's transparent, so that we can transform some of the business models in the informal economy. Economic agents in the informal sector and rural areas in particular need this.
Another issue raised by Kavagap was perceptions of high banking charges and fees to members of the public.
We need to do something, particularly every meeting I have got nowadays of the Monetary Policy Committee is totally dominated by issues around charges and fees. You probably have seen recently that the articles in the newspapers that appeared around fees and charges. While ensuring a financial sector at the cutting edge of the technological revolution, we should not be oblivious to perceptions, whether they are perceived or real, of high banking charges and fees. We need to do something about it. And fortunately, I take note of the industry's commitment through the National Payment System Vision and Strategy for 2025 to drive consumer education and financial inclusion through endeavors such as the integration of payment solutions to achieve high levels and the digitalization of payments, just to name a few.
The governor informed the banking community that the current low interest rates should not be viewed as a loss for commercial banks, as it allows the institutions to leverage deposits and duration. That's all we have for you. Join us again tomorrow for another edition of Business on One.
Are you a CMS member? With HospiCash 100, you can get up to 100,000 Namibian dollars cover with a 30,000 limit per event from as little as 100 Namibian dollars a month. We understand that being in hospital can be stressful. That is why with HospiCash 100, you can cover your non-medical expenses by receiving cash payouts when you are in hospital, so you can recover stress-free. Interested? SMS your name and HospiCash to 555 and we will call you back.
Now we look at Comments Corner, your daily dose of comments from the hottest social media pages. The Minister of Finance, Ipumbushimi, has signed a 1.8 billion Namibia dollars loan from Germany for financing development projects in the areas of water and climate infrastructure as well as agriculture. Minister Shimi said the funding is a clear demonstration of the Federal Republic of Germany's continued support towards Namibia's sustainable development efforts. Tambiru urges Namibia to stop borrowing, asking how these loans will be paid back. Peter says Namibia is good in borrowing. Romans says the budget was just passed, but Namibia is already on a borrowing spree. Helmut says since the finance minister took over, he is just signing loans left, right and centre. While Epi says the money will disappear through elite CC companies, calling on the father of the nation to reach out to politicians, as according to him, they are damaging the country. That is all from Comments Corner. Be sure to post your comments on our social media pages for broadcast every day only on Today on One.
Winter is here. Let's warm you up by giving you a chance to win one of 12 gas heaters and accessories or a grand prize of 50,000 Namibian dollars. To enter the Winter Warmers competition, simply buy any combination of 2 or more of the following participating brands: Bay Snickers, 5 Roses, Fresh Pack, Frisco, or Hug in a Mug. And SMS WINTER to 445. And remember to keep your till slip as proof of purchase. Promotions run from the 1st of May to the 31st of July. For more information and entry details, visit 99fm.com.na. T's and C's apply.
Win free airtime with #LearnOn1. Share your comments on the lessons. WhatsApp your feedback, name and town to 081 200 6659. #LearnOn1. Invite learning in.
What's up, world? This is Shay, the goddess of the airwaves, on 99 FM, Monday to Friday, serving you breakfast on the ignition between 6 and 9. We brought you to be inspired, taking you to master your destiny. Now it's time to do the work.
Just show up.
Put on your work boots and do the time.
Make it, and then make it better.
Hello world, it's your boy Script here on The Kingdom, where we're reminding you every single day.
Get up. You've got this. Start where you are.
Hey, this is your girl Treza on Hitsville on 99 FM, letting you know it's okay.
Try. Make mistakes.
Ask.
I am Sibo, and I'm going to be with you for quite a while. Thank you so much for joining us here on your inspiration station, where we let you know
there's no easy money, there's no easy job, there's no easy life.
99 FM. Do the work.
Charo Musiandaka is standing by for today's sports update.
Welcome back to Sports on One. I'm Chairo Musiandaga. Namibia's latest football champions, Tura Magic Ladies FC, will be participating in the CAF Women's Champions League qualifier, where they'll get a chance to qualify and represent COSAFA football region in the CAF Champions League final. Today on One Sports Desk, caught up with the head coach and board member at Tura Magic Football Club to find out what it means for the team to represent Namibia on Africa's big stage. Castro Lumbu has more on this story.
Tura Magic Football Club board member Timo Chongarero is excited for the opportunity to participate at the biggest stage in Africa and believes that with the opportunity handed to them, more exposure will be given to the club and the ladies as a whole.
We really believe that all the work that we've been doing since 2015 is coming to fruition, so that's something good to see. And from us is really something positive that we hope that from this, this venture or this opportunity, some girls will get a chance to also play professional football outside the country. So for us, that's the most important thing, that we get given opportunities to the players and also the coaches to develop their game at a higher level. So for us, that's really something that will help the club in the long run, because it improves us. And also help us to better ourselves, either infrastructure and also technically, so we can develop the players more. Everybody is crying COVID, but I'm sure some corporates will come up with assistance. We have a budget of about 950,000 Namibian dollars, which items ranges from air tickets to gym facilities to get the girls in the right shape. We are looking at maybe to add a few new jerseys and sets. The weather is becoming colder. We don't know exactly the date for the competition. So we are looking at stuff like that. We are looking at nutrition of the players, obviously some motivational incentives as well for the technical team and the players as well. So we try to have an extensive possible budget to cover all the aspects that are needed for the team to be ready to compete, because we don't want to go and participate. We believe at Tura Magic we are not a club to participate. We go for competition. The message is clear from management to the coaches that when we do start with preparations, that the message should be clear to the players that we are there, we are going there to compete.
Currently holding the Women's Super League trophy and recently crowned NFA Women Bounce Back Super Cup champions, head coach Guresh Sharma could not provide much information on the preparation for the team as they have not yet started in full swing, but is confident going into the competition, adding that he has no intention of adding new players to the squad.
As far as preparations go, as you rightly said, after the Super Cup there hasn't been any competitive league or competitions of which we have participated in, but we did, however, enroll the team into a newly established futsal league, of which a majority of the girls that have not been actively involved with the national team are keeping busy. As far as the preparations for the competition itself is underway, we have so far come together and prepared, looked at the needs surrounding the team. So I think the actual preparation will only commence after we've established the competition dates, and then we will look into how we strategically prepare the team going into a competition of this magnitude. I mean, we can't leave any stone unturned. It's everyone's dream to participate not only at national level but also at international level. I believe with the opportunities granted at national level, we are to a certain extent ready to test what we've implemented over the years against other more pedigree coaches and clubs.
Namibia's Tura Magic FC will be joined by the following teams.
That's all we have for you today. Join us again tomorrow for Sports on One, and don't forget to follow us on our social media pages. Back to you, Maggie.
Thank you, Chiro, for that update. Now a look at the weather forecast. A look at the weather forecast. First, an advisory from the Windhoek Met Office. Cold conditions are expected in the Clarence region on Sunday, so please do take the necessary precautions. The Namibia interior partly cloudy and warm to hot. The coast partly cloudy and mild to warm in the south, elsewhere sunny and warm to hot. The wind moderate easterly at first, becoming southwesterly later. Now we look at minimum and maximum temperatures across the country and beyond. That is all we have for you this evening. Join us again tomorrow evening at 7 p.m. From me, Maggie Forciedo, and the rest of the team, it's good night.
In a time of uncertainty, false news, and fear, learn on. While the world scrambles to make new sense, while the experts turn around in circles, trying to find their way back to tomorrow, learn on. When classrooms become empty cathedrals and the trees start to bear answers, learn on. Learn on. Until every parent is a teacher and every teacher is a mentor. Learn on. Until you cross the boundaries of your mind. Until you grow eyes and sprout wings. My friend, learn on. On sidewalks, on the floor, at the neighbors, in the market, in hallways, in churches, under trees, at kitchen tables, in riverbeds. Learning doesn't only happen between four walls. Learning happens in the small space of your enormous, beautiful mind. Start where you are. Use what you have. Learn on One. Invite learning in.
Prevention is important. Help prevent the spread of illness and keep yourself and others well. Hand washing is one of the most effective ways of preventing the spread of germs. Wash your hands regularly with soap and hot water, scrubbing your hands thoroughly for at least 20 seconds. Hand sanitizers can be used but are not recommended as a substitute for hand washing. Use sanitizers in addition to hand washing or in a situation where soap and water are not available. To avoid spreading germs, limit sharing of personal items such as utensils, cups, and dishes. Your skin acts as a barrier to germs, but your eyes, nose, and mouth are more vulnerable. Wash your hands thoroughly before touching your face, eating, or drinking. Avoid physical contact with others, including handshakes, fist bumps, high fives, hugs, and kisses. Social distancing is deliberately increasing the physical space between people to avoid spreading germs. While regulations may vary by country or area, the best guideline for social distancing is to maintain a distance of 6 feet from others. Germs can travel through the air from one person to another. If you sneeze or cough, do so into a tissue or the inside of your elbow to prevent the spread of germs. Avoid contact with ill individuals and insist they isolate themselves until they have recovered and are symptom-free. Clean and sanitize frequently touched common surfaces and high-traffic areas in your home and workplace several times a day. Share these guidelines with others and help prevent the spread of illness and maintain a healthy environment. An ounce of prevention is worth a ton of cure.
Right in my heart, right in my heart.
The V10 Countdown airs every Saturday at 1800 hours on One Africa TV. Vote for your favorite music video by SMSing the song's name followed by V10 to 10010. Make sure that you add a space between the song name and V10. For example, Omapenda Fule, space, V10. SMSs are charged at $3 Namibian. T's and C's apply.
I like rhinos. I like them very much. Future here in this area is depending on the tourism. The future generation, they can see and they can benefit from their own resources. Animals like rhinos, elephants, the big five, you benefit from them and it must be respected. You are not feeding the rhinos, you are not giving them order, so it's a free business. I take 2 of my sons, which was little bit 5 years old. They were young guys. So they asked me questions. Why are we here? Why are we sleeping here? I told them this is our resources and this is our future.
My first memory of going with my dad is that I learned new things. As I grow up as a man, I see an opportunity in it. So I decided to look for a job pertaining to tourism. So that's when I was employed at Palamba. So I decided to go for tour guide studies because I grew up with the tourism industry, the wildlife, the rhinos and everything, to bring that experience to the tourists. You can see the hyena. The biggest changes, I was employed, getting paid, and also I can now support my family.
It's a cultural thing. It's coming a long way. Even if you go to area like Tweefontein, area was a lot of paintings. You will see rhino engravings on the rocks. That is an indication that the interaction between human, especially the local communities and wildlife, is dating back. That intimacy relationship is coming for a long time.
We are right here now at Palamba, and Palamba is one of the big lodges in the heart of the desert. And as you can see, there is Jumbo standing behind me, which shows it's really a tourist area. We do have elephants, lions, but as you can see, the desert is the heart of the rhinos. This is the main breeding area of the rhinos, is what we found here in this desert.
It's the largest free-roaming population of black rhinos that you find outside national parks in the world. It's a population that communities in the Northwest have taken responsibility themselves in managing this population with the structures that government has put in place, more specifically the establishment of conservancies.
These people, before independence, they took it upon themselves and decided that wildlife is our heritage, and through history we've been living with wildlife. And having wildlife in your area is like having a garden.
Because of all these animals, we've got the communities that benefit from all this wildlife. And it's like a triangle that fits into each other. And the communities looked after the wildlife doing their own thing, and the communities benefit.
So already there were this intergenerational relationship between mankind and wildlife, and that bond is what our people actually wanted to see continuing.
Very few countries have the wildlife that Namibia has. What is also important is the policies that Namibia has put in place, which also involves communities to be engaged in the management of the wildlife species and also to benefit from the wildlife resources.
Turn conservation into a rural economy, turn conservation into endless opportunities that would actually cater for those young people that have nothing else to do.
If it was not for rhino economy and tourism in this area, it was really difficult for young people to get or find a job.
We are conservation engineers. We make conservation work in an unfenced area, and through that, we want to turn the wildlife into the rural economy that will benefit the rural communities.
So we can see now wildlife is doing very well, the lodges are doing well, and the community is also benefiting. So it takes all three together.
Devastating hit over coronavirus fears. Airline industry is facing its biggest threat to travel since 9/11.
Since March, when COVID-19 hit Namibia, things actually become very difficult. In the first place, all the lodges closed down because of COVID-19. With us, Save the Rhino Trust, we had some donors cutting on their funding. And then we had, in the same time, a poaching case of 2 rhinos that was poached. We had less boots on the ground, and poachers could actually see. Now each of them changed to go in and do something. So COVID-19 was tough on all of us. Ginger Morning, who is one of our trustees, actually came up with the idea of, why don't we ask you to go to buy some gold for us and make gold bars, and then we sell them for the rhino conservation.
I was fortunate enough to have a chance to have lunch with Clive Johnson, the CEO of B2 Gold in Vancouver, Canada. And I looked at Clive and I said, you know, we've got rhinos, you've got gold, let's do something. Let's create a coin or a medallion or a bar using your resource to create a sustainable source of funding for rhino conservation for the future.
There was it. The gold was bought, the bars was made, and I think it was January, 31st of January, that we launched the bars in Windhoek. And suddenly one morning I had an email from my office, from my finance person, saying, these people don't have salaries. So I said, oh, what now? So I picked up my phone and I phoned Mark Daw. I said, Mark, I've got this problem. He said, but when we've got a fund already ready for you, you just have to apply, put the proposal in.
1,000 ounces of gold can make an enormous difference to the livelihoods of the communities that live up there. We are, in essence, providing income and providing a livelihood to the communities. In the absence of tourism, especially now with COVID-19, even prior to that, when we had such a bad drought, the communities became even more dependent on the natural economy.
The idea is to make this a fund that will last for the next 25, 30 years, or even longer. And a portion of that will be distributed immediately as needed. And in this case, the COVID-19 crisis necessitated us to distribute funds to pay salaries to help people in the field.
The proceeds of the sales from the gold bars will be going towards responsible NGOs. And we've identified Save the Rhino Trust as the key NGO. And IRDNC, one of the first organizations that was in the Northwest, integrated rural development and nature conservation, so that ultimately the funds go to the communities and various aspects of their war on poaching.
To be able to support those hardworking men and women that are always in the front line between the poachers and the rhinos.
If it was not for B2 Gold and the golden bars, I think by now we should have been in big trouble.
By extracting the gold, you reinvest it in other renewable resources.
The gold that's coming out from the ground is actually protecting the wildlife that's working on the ground, which is a very good symbol for the others.
I wish this was my bar. This is the 500 gram gold bar. So you'll see on this side you've got the Itindeka Mountains and you've got the mother rhino with her calf. And then on the reverse side we've got the serial number, you've got the Rand refinery stamp, which is very important. Anywhere in the world people will recognize the stamp and they will know that this bar contains 99.99% gold.
It is gorgeous.
We wanted to make a biggest contribution. And at Ballowwood we see that as a way of giving back to the community.
Okay, so there you'll see the 500 gram bar.
Very special.
Feel the weight. It's incredible.
This opportunity which presented itself is absolutely a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity.
We're privileged to have this.
This is just absolutely gorgeous, and I think this showcase really what the project is all about.
It's from 24 karat Namibian gold.
I'm looking at these rhinos is put there like
Miss World photogenic, I would say.
There are only 1,000 of these gold bars, rhino gold bars, in circulation.
As far as I'm aware, it's the largest single donation of any corporate to the conservation of biodiversity anywhere in Africa.
Therefore, we so much appreciate and would want to continue as a government to work with B2 Gold.
And the fact that it's happening here in Namibia is something that we can all be extremely proud about and very grateful to B2 Gold.
Thanks to having this literal pot of gold through the funding for the Rhino Gold Bar, we're able to step in now and make sure that those trackers are supported, and so are their families and their communities.
We make sure that people sustain their jobs going forward. And who doesn't want gold?
And the B2 Gold Rhino Gold Bar has come in at a really critical time now, particularly with tourism being closed off and those forms of revenue not coming in.
To say we have the biggest rhino population or black rhino population in the world, let it be for the rest of our lives. And it's that heritage that we have, it's our resource that we can all look after and protect.
It's our heritage. And it's also good that other people like B2 Gold are also seeing it that way.
It's actually a very nice link between the investor that buys this gold bar, the rhino tracker in the northwest of Namibia, and the black rhinos. It's an intergenerational thing. The rhino trackers teach their children how to track rhinos, their children get taught, and so it flows down.
This is something that I want my children to have, and that we leave a little bit of a B2 Gold legacy. And if I can be part of that as part of my family, I'd be very proud.
It can also become an inheritance for the generations of my own clan. My children, my grandchildren.
If we can bring that passion over to future generations and to hand that over to my children, and I hope that that same passion for conservation gets migrated over to my kids.
And what we've done together is create a sustainable source of funding that should outlive all of us.
You know, I think as far as B2 Gold is concerned, we couldn't have chosen a better target in which to put our efforts as far as the environmental and conservation pillar is concerned. And I want to stress there that the money that's going towards environment and conservation is actually going towards the people.
Rhino is for all of us, whether you are in Canada, whether you are in Vancouver, whether you are in the US. If you really want to see conservation at play with rural communities, I therefore humbly request each and everyone to join us on our rhino tour and have a wonderful experience. This is what keeps rhinos on this planet.
I've done rhino trekking experience. It was just amazing walking in that landscape of the Kunene. And as we followed them, we could now find rhinos with the calf. We got the closest distance we could.
It's a warning sign.
And it was just amazing and lovely, something to experience that Namibia can offer. It's something that you have to do in your life.